Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great, what is today? Wednesday. Wow. Time is flying by here. We're already halfway through the week. And what do we got to talk about today? We have really just CORZ Scientific to talk about today. We'll talk about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners as well. They didn't have a great day today, unfortunately, which was kind of par for the course, I guess, with Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners in general. They're going to do what they're going to do, but I think that in the long run, we're going to do much better than where we are right now. I think we just have to be patient here. So we'll get into CORZ Scientific numbers. They weren't that great. We'll take a look at the reasons why they weren't that great. We'll also maybe look at the market caps of the miners right now because Core actually has improved their numbers because they actually have more shares outstanding. But we'll get into all that down the road here. But as always, you guys know the drill here. Non-financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And my full disclosure down below. If you're interested in the type of content, hit the like button and subscribe as well. Helps the channel out tremendously. And yeah, let's get into what's going on here with Bitcoin today. Or the last day, I guess, as you can see it for Wednesday. We're in the new day right now. But here's what we got here. So Bitcoin right now is kind of climbing up right now. But on Wednesday, which is based on the UTC time, we had Bitcoin come down here a little bit here. It was down 1.61%. It was down a little bit more, like 2% on the day. It finished out being down $899, so it wasn't too bad overall. But we're up nicely now. We're up almost 4%, wow, it keeps going up. We're up $2,300 roughly or so on the new day, which is good. And we're battling with our support here, or resistance at 57,500. We'll see if we can get past that possibly. We did bounce off the resistance or the support here at 53,750 roughly. We went below that on Monday, but we've kind of come back up here above that. I think that's a good sign here going forward. But anything can change here with Bitcoin. Miners, on the other hand, didn't have such a great day. You can see that miners were, for the most part, in red, except for CORZ. CORZ was up just a little bit here, 1.13%. Miners actually started out the day in the green. A lot of them did, but then towards the end of the day, as Bitcoin was starting to come down throughout the late morning, early afternoon, everything kind of went down and south from there. So a lot of miners were down quite a bit here. ANY was down 5.43%. Argo was down 7.4%. Digital was down 8.5%, almost 8.6%. BitDeer was down almost 8.6% as well. Bitfarms was down 8%. Cypher down 2.25%. Cleanspark was down 9.6%. CORZ, like we talked about, was up actually. Digihost was down 5.4%. DMG was down 2.7% roughly. Hive was down 9%. Hut was down 9.6% roughly. IREN was down a lot, 14.6%. I'm guessing it's because of the report they came out with their operational update yesterday. Wasn't great. They basically lost money on mining because of electricity costs. They hedged wrong for the month of July. Hopefully that doesn't repeat going forward, but that's kind of why the stock is taking a little bit of a dive here. Mara was down 8.1%, almost 8.2%. Mawson was down 1.6%. Riot was down 9%. Stronghold was down 7.2% roughly. And Wolf was down 7.7% on the day as well. So it was a pretty rough day overall. But it seems like things are reversing here a little bit for Bitcoin here. So we'll see what it does in the morning and where the miners kind of end up being at that point. All right, but that's it for those guys. Like I keep saying, and I've stated this before, and I'm going to keep stating this, Bitcoin is very volatile. The miners are a multiple of that volatility when it comes to Bitcoin. So you got to have a pretty strong stomach to weather this, and especially if you're looking at this out another 12 to 18 months. You got to be patient with it, buy the dips, and I think you'll do much better going forward. Okay, so there's that. Let's take a look at CORZ Scientific here really quick as well. And I did listen into CORZ Scientific's conference call. There wasn't much news or new information that we don't already know already. The thing that was interesting there, I think the one thing that I thought was interesting is that, yes, they can use the revenue from the HPC AI business going forward to build out even more into their Bitcoin mining site or sites, side of the business, I guess. And then also that they are looking for other places to build out as well. I thought that was interesting there. So you guys are more than welcome to listen to that. That's, I think, available now for you guys as well as a recorded release for that. But here's what we got here. So CORZ Scientific announces fiscal second quarter 2024 results. They provided they were like down $4 and something cents per EPS, but there's a reason for it. And this is the main reason why. It's the very first thing that they listed here. So I'm glad that they listed it as number one here. So I incurred a net loss of 804 million, due primarily to a net 796 million non-cash market-to-market adjustment to our warrants and other contingent value right liabilities required as a result of significant quarter-over-quarter increase in the value of our equity. So that's the reason why I had a pretty big loss there on the EPS. Take that out, it would have been in a much better position there. Generated operating income of 6.6 million, a decrease of 2.9 million over the second quarter. Produced adjusted EBITDA of 46 million. So, right, take out some of the non-cash based expenses, and they are looking much better at that point. And then achieved mandatory conversion of convertible notes, removing 260 million in debt from balance sheet. That's a good thing as well there. And you guys can read the rest of the stuff. There's quite a bit in here, but I'm not going to go through it too much. We'll keep it relatively quick and easy here. And then on there, wanted to go into their actual slide deck here. Self-mining fleet, I thought that was really interesting that they provided this. This was kind of nice. A breakdown of all of their machines, what they have percentage-wise, joules per terahash and everything else. That's great to see there. It's good that they only have a small amount of these older 34.2 joules per terahash machines. They only have a small amount of these newer generation ones at 17.5 joules per terahash. And then they have about a quarter of these 21.5 joules per terahash, the XPs. So that's looking pretty good there. But they have a large portion of these S19 Pros and S19J Pros at 29.5 joules per terahash. Also, the good news here is they're planning to procure 10,000 to 15,000 self-miners in second half of 2024. So that would get them an additional, what is that? I think you need, 5,000 miners to get to, the 200 terahash miners at least. We need 5,000 miners to get to 1 exahash. So we're looking at possibly 2 to 3 exahash increase there. And they might be just swapping out machines as well at that point. Block 3 nanometer ASICs to support refresh and hash rate expansion beyond 2024. We talked about that in the past, that they are working with Block. Not sure exactly when those miners are going to be coming in here or when they're going to be produced, manufactured, but they are working on that, so that's good also right now. Going down here, total debt decreases by 280 million first quarter of in July 2024. So they're down to 318 million debt left here. That's really good. What else we got here? Total direct cash cost 29,879. I have them a little bit higher than that. For the second quarter, direct power cost was 24. Operational cost was 5 million. Let's see. Operational cost number 3 includes personnel and related costs, software, okay, yeah. Excludes stock-based compensation and depreciation, okay. Yeah, so there are 29,000 here per Bitcoin, it looks like. Roughly, I have them a little bit higher than that. Based on my numbers here, but I'm not taking out everything there. I'm just taking out some things. What else do we have here? CoreWeave HPC contracts, flow of CapEx funding. This is kind of interesting to take a look at as well on that one, so take a look at that. Let's see. They're trying to diversify HPC hosting clients. We'll see what they get. We hear this from a lot of the miners. They are working with, or at least fielding phone calls from potential customers in HPC. Nothing really is that has been really material in that aspect. The only ones that have huge contracts is Core here with 4 point some odd billion over the 12 years, and with Bit Digital as well, with having a roughly $100 million contract a year for the next 3 years, roughly. Maybe, well, it's probably less than that now, 2.5 years or so. Okay, going down here, what else do we have here? That was interesting. Summary, and that's basically it. And then they go into the actual financial numbers here. So let's take a look at the numbers that I do have here for them. So Core now has 258 million shares outstanding. That is an increase from what they had at the end of Q1. And we kind of expected that this is going to happen as warrants get exercised and other things, that this number should increase here. So based on that, their market cap as of today is about 2.5 billion. That does put them in the top 3 miners in that space right now, and they actually overtook somebody here. We'll take a look at that number here in a second. Their performance here over the last 12 weeks has been actually really good here. They're up 144% from 12 weeks ago, 14% from 8 weeks ago. They are down 13% from 4 weeks ago, and then last week they were down almost 13% on that one. Okay, going down here, they don't hodl anything. Looking at their last 4 quarters revenue is coming down here. Based on the numbers that we have currently on them, as far as the machines that are operating, network hash rate where it's at, Bitcoin price and all that, current quarter, I'm estimating them to be about 83 million roughly. That could change depending where Bitcoin price goes later on this month into September as well. And if they get any new machines or anything like that, and depending where the Bitcoin network hash rate goes. So this is an estimate right now. But their best quarter here looks like was in Q1 so far this year. And then Q2, we were down, like a lot of miners are being down right now. And then current quarter's estimate is even down further from that. So that's something that we want to improve on going forward, especially if they can get newer miners and replace some of the older machines as well. I think that will help going forward there. Last 4 quarters, operating costs minus depreciation. That was about 100 million here in Q2. A little bit of an increase from Q1. Not that big of a difference there. About roughly what is that going to be? 7 point something million here, 7.6, 7.8 million, something like that. Not too bad. Custom mine 1 Bitcoin, I'm at 30,000.24K. They're at 29,000. We're really close to that number as it is already. So that's pretty good there. That is an increase from Q1. And that's mainly driven because we had the halving event happen, which cut the supply of Bitcoin in half, which then costs quite a bit more to mine, but they still came in pretty good here. Bitcoin mine quarterly, that has been also coming down the last couple quarters here. Their best quarter was in Q4, 3,041, and that's been decreasing here in the last 4 quarters. Debt to equity is improving. They're now at negative 1.7, so that's good. Current ratio is also improving, so that's also good there, 1.5 on it. Total current assets, 117 million, so that did decrease here. Total current liabilities also went down. In Q2, they had 74.82 million, so that's looking pretty good there on it also. Okay, and then, yeah, okay, so that's that part of it. Going down here to the actual numbers here, we'll get into the metrics up here that I calculate in a little bit here, but you can see that the number of shares increased from 177 million in Q1 to 258 million in Q2, so a sizable increase there. Current assets was 117 million, so that's actually down from 143 million. Total assets was down also to 761 million from 813. Not too bad, but still down a little bit there. Total current liabilities went down to 74 million from 138, so that's good there. And you can see here in fiscal year end, they were at 488, so that has definitely improved there over the last 2 quarters. Total liabilities not subject to compromise was now at 1.8 billion. They did in the warrant liabilities here. They got triggered, part of it at least. They added about 1.15 billion here compared to 327 million here, and that's kind of where that difference is coming in from that we talked about here. Total liabilities is now at 1.845 still, and we had 1.1 billion prior to that. So that's kind of why that's in there. And then total liabilities, contingent, redeemable, preferred stock, and stockholders deficit was 761 million compared to 813 million. Revenues here. We now have revenues showing up for also HPC hosting revenue, which came in at 5.5 million. So that's kind of good there that we're seeing that now. Digital asset mining came in at 110 million. I was off by, I think, 0.33% on that. Really close to what they had here, so I'm really happy with that. Hosting revenue also is 24.8 million, so that's down. And they have stated that they are going to be winding down the hosting by the end of the year as the contracts expire with the customers that they have there, which then they can install more machines for themselves or use it for HPC AI business. So I think that's great there as well. Profit margins here for sales was 0. They don't sell anything anymore. Profit margins mining was 27.76%. Hosting was a little bit pretty high here, 30%. So that's actually pretty good compared to where they were just like a year ago. If you go back 2 years roughly, they were at a loss at that point. So they've done a much better job raising the margins on that. Profit margin hosting. Why do I have 11% here? Oh, this should have been profit margin on HPC. HPC was 11% on it right now. And the overall profit margin was 27.51% on it. Okay. Cost of hosting services was 17 million. Cost of HPC was 4.8. Yeah, so I'm surprised at that. They're only getting 27% or 11% on the HPC. Usually when you hear about HPC, you hear how profitable it is and everything else. So I'm a little bit surprised that those margins are kind of low there on the lower end. Going down here, what else do we have here? Cost of digital asset mining was 80 million. And then gross profit was 38 million roughly based on all of that overall. What else do we have here? Change in fair value of derivative instruments was down to 584 million. We had a change in fair value of energy derivatives now at negative 539,000 and 584,000 there as well. Loss in exchanges, that was down as well, so that was good. Operating expenses, research and development was up a little bit here to 2.1 million. Sales and marketing was up quite a bit here to basically was 3 million here. Surprised by that they're spending that much per quarter. So you mean you're spending $1 million on that? I mean, how many salespeople do you have out there That seems kind of high to me. General administrative was also up quite a bit here to 26 million from 14 million. And then operating loss per income was actually positive 6.5 million. So that was looking good there. Total non-operating income expenses came in at, because we had the change in fair value of warrant and contingent right values, 796 million. That brought them down to 804 million here. Income loss before taxes. Total non-operating income expenses was at 804 million, 886 based on the number of shares. That's a negative for 4.51, $4.51, sorry, loss per share there, where we had an actual 91 cents gain here on it. And then we were using the 178 million there. If we take out even depreciation, comprehensive income, we would get them at 451. Not much of a change there as well. So that's kind of where things ended up at. So more or less what I'm trying to say is overall it was a pretty good quarter for them. They had to put in the warrants revaluation here. That's kind of what drove them down. If it wasn't for that, they'd be doing much better on it. Going up here to my numbers here. Let's see here. Custom 1 Bitcoin. This includes depreciation, all that stuff. Was 59, almost 60,000 here. Do you take out depreciation, which was 29,200 for them on the infrastructure and A6? Custom 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation came in at 30,239 for that. So that's actually not too bad, like I said before, especially after the halving event. I was thinking it was going to be closer to like 36,000 or something like that, but it's actually pretty, it's lower than that, so that's good. Debt to equity, we talked about that. Current ratio, we talked about that. Book value of equity, negative 1 billion here. Price to book ratio is still negative 2.3, but that has been improving, which is good to see. And then enterprise value is about 2.5 billion. And then beta was negative 789 million. EV to beta was negative 3.2. And then revenue here was 141 million. General administrative compensation was 26 million. That's 18%. So that's better than the 20%, which I usually say is kind of like the line in the sand for the miners. I'd like to see them below 20, even lower than that. They were much lower than that in Q1 at 7.89% there. Okay, so that's how the way things stacked up here. I still think that they have huge potential going forward, especially as they build out the HPC side of the business going into next year. They can also grow their own hash rate. They're looking for other sites as well. They have really good potential. I got to admit, Adam Sullivan has done a fantastic job with the company here. And then going up here, based on the last numbers that we have here for July, plus the HPC revenue, which is divided by 3 months, I'm looking at them being between 899 and 1348. And the reason that's down from where we talked about it, I think yesterday or the day before, is because the number of shares increased. So whenever that happens, it's going to come down. And we see the same thing here on these numbers for looking at the last 3 quarters, which now includes all of the December ending quarter, March ending quarter, June quarter, and then we're including that Q2 numbers for their, or Q3 now numbers, which are estimated into it, 1324 to 1986. If they dilute some more, like I said before, they'll probably be valued somewhere between like $9 and what was the other number? $9 and no, was it on the higher end? Trying to think, what did we have it before? We had it before higher. $9 and like $14, I think is what it was. Somewhere around there. So I do think that they're still currently undervalued based on the simple fact that they're going to be growing their HPC side of the business tremendously here. Also, like I said, the numbers here on their actual numbers reported for self-mining compared to what I had for them, I was off by 0.33%, just a little bit lower than them by about 400-some thousand, 350,000 or something like that, whatever it is, on that one. So really happy with that. And yeah, I mean, what can I say about CORZ? CORZ has done a tremendous job getting out of bankruptcy, getting the huge customer with CoreWeave, and we'll see if they can get another customer there. That's the big question there. Same thing with Bit Digital. Can they also get another customer instead of being a one-trick pony like Sam has said before? They don't want to be that. So we'll see how they can do that along with Core Scientific, and that is it. All right. Yeah, we'll call it a day here. We'll get into your guys' Q&A side of things here. Oh, before I forget, we're going to take a look at the market cap. So here's the latest market cap based on the number of shares of each company here. Marathon is still the top dog here with a 4.6 billion in market cap. They're basically almost double what the next 3 miners are in value here. Core is now number 2 spot with 2.5 billion. They beat out Cleanspark just barely here by about, what is that, 11 million or so? Yeah, about 11 million in value. Then you got Riot at 2.3 billion, followed by IREN at 1.2, Cypher at 1.1, TeraWolf at 1.1 as well, HUD at 1 billion, BitDeer at 897, Bitfarms at 778, BitDigital at 322, and Hive at 277. We saw a lot of value basically get sold out of the miners here in the last couple of days. And that's why we're down where we are before, because we had a lot of these miners that were at like 2 billion, 1 billion, 1.5 billion, somewhere around there, and that's all gone away here recently. But that's kind of what we're seeing right now on it. Okay. So as always, sales pitch time. Patreon members get access to all of these spreadsheets. Link is down in the description for that if you'd like to join and get access to these as well. It's $8 a month. If you pay the annual subscription for it for the year, you get 10% discount, and you might be able to find some open spots in like the $5 range and the $4 range, which would be a nice discount as well. And you get access to all this stuff along with the private Discord server that we have. Okay. All right. That's my sales pitch there. Let's get into you guys' Q&A side of things here. So it should be a pretty easy day on that one. And let's see what we got going on here. Why is it not working? There we go. Okay. We are back here. Let's see. Bitfarms undervalued. Yeah, I do believe they're still undervalued. They should be at least like around $4 at the bare minimum. On that one, somehow low will Riot fall. Tiring. Yeah, it's tiring with a lot of these guys. Riot, where are they at right now? They are at, I have to look at them, 764. Let's take a look at them here on the screen here. I mean, Bitcoin's having a pretty good run right now. We'll see if they can kind of come back from it. But everybody was down today quite a bit. They're not the only ones here. So I would expect them, if Bitcoin stays where it's at, we don't get a sell-off with the U.S. markets like we have been getting in the past here. We might be coming back up here. I think this might be the low of it where we are, or where we reached on Monday here. I think that might be the low on it. But we still could go down even lower depending on where Bitcoin goes. But anything below here, I think, is a buying opportunity on Riot right now. That's as long as they can fix their operation, like I've said before. And Corsicana, they're not really fixing, but just improve their uptime there. Instead of having it be 75% if utilization, get it closer to like 90, 95%. That would be good there. And yeah, I mean, I see a lot of good stuff happening for Riot going forward. Okay. Oh, let's see. Logan says, I'm excited for Cleanspark earnings tomorrow. Yeah, me too. It'll be interesting to see how they come into this. I don't expect a positive EPS from them, only because they have a huge hodl with, and then the FSB rules being accounted for that. That's always going to be tough. What do you think IREN can do to gain back investor confidence? July was such a bad month. I'm very disappointed. Yeah, it was a bad month. They did bad on the hedging of electricity for the month. I think I would have liked to have seen at least somebody from them, like Dan Roberts, come out and say, here's how we made our mistake. Here's what we've learned from it. And here's how we're not going to repeat this going forward. If they did that, I think that would be great. They did just state in there a little bit in their press release that they are reevaluating their hedging strategy. I don't think that was enough to kind of calm the fears of the investors. Yeah, that's kind of where I would see it here. So what do you think? I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I would think they would have to do is say, here's what we did wrong. We learned from this, and we're not going to repeat that process again. Let's see. Do you think Bitfarms will dilute more this year for the 35x expansion next year? I know they are fully funded to 21. I don't know if they're going to do it this year, depending where the price of the stock goes. If the stock starts going up to $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, maybe at that point they would find it beneficial to do so, and I wouldn't blame them for it at that point. Right now where the stock is at, it's not a great time to do it. So I would hope that they would wait until the stock would actually go back up. Did you buy more IREN and Bitfarms today? No. I used up all my cash that I had here that I was planning to use over the next couple of weeks. The last Thursday and Monday is when I did the buying. So I'm out for now. It's going to take me a couple more weeks to build up some more cash to buy again here. So in a sense, I'm hoping that the miners stay where they are right now so I can buy more at these levels. But I know you guys are also anxious to have these miners go up. So if they go up, I'll still probably end up buying anyways. Let's see. 5x for Riot from here doesn't mean much. Seb, do you think Riot crosses $50? The BTC reaches 150,000? Oh yeah, if it reaches, Bitcoin gets to 150,000, yeah, I think they could get to 50 at that point. Let's see here. Des Market Stats. Hey Seb, I love selling puts for a higher premium when the market crashes. Nice. Yeah, I still got to get into that. I'll do a little bit here in the coming weeks probably. What else do we have here? How much would Cleanspark have to fall for you to consider selling? I wouldn't consider selling. I'd look into buying more, dollar cost averaging into it. I haven't really sold any miners here except for Hive back in November, December of last year, which I just sold what I had from 2017, 2018 because I didn't see the growth there. I did sell what I initially invested in Cleanspark, the 20%. At one point, going back, this is probably about a month and a half now, maybe 2 months even, and bought IREN because IREN had really good growth projections going forward. So I wanted to kind of buy more into IREN, which I was buying since last November, December also, but just not as much as I probably should have been. So I corrected that a little bit, but I wouldn't be selling. I'd be probably dollar cost averaging in still. Is it better for a mining company to sell Bitcoin, the Bitcoin production, or hold? Depending on when you do it. I think there's a good time to do it and a bad time to do it. A good time to sell is like when you're getting into a bull run or getting close to the peak. You're not going to be able to reach time the peak perfectly. But if you can start selling a couple months before then and then afterwards as well, I think that's a good time to sell. You can also, you don't have to sell 100% of it. You can sell 50% of it, whatever it is, but you want to be selling at that point. A good time to hodl is, several months before the halving event, usually, maybe even a year out. Start hodling more at that point because at that point, Bitcoin gets past the halving event. Usually it has a nice bull rally after that, and you will get at least, this cycle we're thinking maybe where things were at least maybe a 3x, if not more on that hodl. Depending on where you're doing it and where Bitcoin price was at that point. So you could be looking at like maybe 3 to 5x potentially. So I think there is time to do it. I'm not a big fan of companies in the bear market, especially holding everything that they mine and diluting the crap out of the investors at that point, especially as the stock price is going down because you're diluting a heck of a lot more shares at that point. So I'm not a big fan of that. But I do think there's times to do it. Do you have CORZ price targets post HPC revenue generation? I do not, because we're so far out at that point. I'm guessing it's going to be sometime either at the end of Q1 in 2025 or somewhere in Q2 of 2025. So I don't know where things are going to be at that point. Don't know where Bitcoin price is going to be yet. Don't know where the network hash is going to be yet. Don't know how many hash rate they have themselves at that point. So it's really tough. There's a lot of things that go into it to try to figure that out. Do you think Bitfarms earnings will be positive? Should we wait to buy after earnings? I don't know if their earnings will be positive here. Let's take a look at the numbers that I have for them really quick. There's Bitfarms here really quick. Going down here for the last quarter, we can see that they generated 50 million here. They're going to be down about 10 million roughly from that quarter here. So if we look at the numbers down below on them, what did they get as far as EPS on it? They were actually in the negative 2 cents on earnings per share at that point. But that also probably included stock-based compensation, also depreciation in general. If we didn't include that, they would have been up at least 15 cents. So with that, I would say there is maybe a slight possibility for them to be up. If you take out depreciation and stock-based compensation, things like that, non-cash things, they might be positive also at that point. Possibly, because there were only 10 million off, so they would get them to about 40 million here on it. And then that would be, like 12 cents per share, roughly 10 to 12 cents, something like that, maybe EPS. But they're going to probably be down with everything included on it. That's kind of the way I would look at it. Okay. Will the 30-year bond drop the market again like the 10-year did? What equals as another red day for miners? I don't know. I'm not a bond expert, so I'm not sure what would play out on that. But if we have a similar situation like we did with the 10-year, maybe, perhaps, I'm not sure. Do you recall in a space call, IREN said that they use AI to run these their miners to the most optimal time and turn off when it's not. Scared I've round trip my bags for the second time. You might round trip them for the third time even sometimes with these miners. But I look at them as dips as buying opportunities. If you believe in the companies, if you believe Bitcoin's going up in value, much more from where we are right now, these types of situations are buying opportunities. Yes, it hurts. It hurts a lot. But you just have to have a thick skin, I guess, and a strong stomach for this stuff to weather it, because I, for one, am terrible at timing the markets and trying to figure out where the tops are. I've done that in the past where I've tried to time it, and I've actually lost in the long run on it. So this cycle, I decided I'm just going to dollar cost average into it, regardless of what happens here. I believe in Bitcoin going up much higher, which then will result in the miners going up as well, even higher than that, and X multiples, I guess you could say. And if we have red days, those are the days I'm looking to buy. I don't want to buy in the green days. I want to buy in the red days. And that's kind of the way I've looked at it. So, yeah, I mean, I feel your pain. I know it's tough. You just got to be patient, I think, and have a pretty strong stomach for this stuff. How will Bitfarms and Hive earnings will look out? We talked about Bitfarms a little bit here. Hive, let's take a look at Hive here really quick. Let's see where they're at. Let's see your screen side of things. Let's take a look at Hive. So Hive came in at, for end of Q1, they were at 35 million. Now they're going to be about 29 million here roughly. So that's only about, what, 5.5 million off from the difference in the quarters. They also have a HODL position, but they can't use the FASB rules, so that doesn't apply to them. Going down here to their numbers here, let's see what they have earnings per share wise. They were actually 50 cents negative with everything included. Take out share-based compensation, depreciation, all that stuff. And they were at that point at $1.02 positive. So I would expect the same thing to happen here because they see 91 million. At that point, you take out all the other non-cash based things, and they're only down 5 million. So I would expect the same thing to happen where they possibly might be negative on the numbers, but positive if you take out the non-cash things on it. Okay. So that's kind of what I would look to see. See. Question: can you show the BTC hash rate chart and the other BTC charts? Yes, we'll get over. We'll do those. If not tomorrow, maybe on Monday. I got to run the numbers on that, update the things for everybody there. We'll also take a look at tomorrow, maybe the best Bitcoin miners in July numbers for the July numbers in general. But yeah, we'll take a look at that. I don't have it updated right now as far as where BTC hash rate is and the miners hash rate is overall. But we will take a look at that possibly sometime next week. I got to run the numbers on it. The problem with Riot compared to other miners is that other miners went up 5 to 7x from their bear market bottom, but Riot is just 2x from its 2022 bottom. So Riot feels especially loss making. Yeah, I mean, Riot has not done well. If we look at this sheet, just from the last 52 weeks alone, let's go to the weekly table that I have here. Look at this here. This is from the 52-week lows, right? Riot is only up 18%. They have underperformed all of these miners. Hive even beat them. They're up 40%. Best performing miners have been TeraWolf and CleanSpark over the last 52 weeks from their bottoms, along with Core, IREN, BitDeer, and Bitcoin's up 146%. So those guys actually outperformed Bitcoin. Everybody else to the right of that has underperformed Bitcoin here, and Riot being the biggest loser here, unfortunately. That's why I think there might be some, going forward, there might be some rotation into them maybe. And we know as long as they improve their uptime, that's the big thing that I keep saying there, and I think that's the case. If they can do that, then I think the stock will do much better going forward. But it also might be right now that some of the investors are not happy with them trying to buy out Bitfarms. Maybe that's also dragging the stock down maybe a little bit. I don't know. That's just a theory that I have. We'll see if they come out in a couple months, whatever it might be, that they're not interested in getting Bitfarms or something like that, and see what the stock does. If the stock rips at that point, well, that was part of the reason that the stock was being held down as well. Okay. All right, let's go back to here. Let's see. IREN has so many shares outstanding, it's scary. Well, not really. I mean, let's take a look at all the numbers for the miners here really quick. We don't have all the numbers for the latest Q2 numbers for them, but let's just take a look at where everybody stands right now really quick. So BitDeer has about 117 million shares as of Q1, I believe. We got BitDigital with 121. Bitfarms with, I think, has the most right now, 411 million shares. Cypher with 286. So, I mean, Cypher's pretty close to Bitfarms. Cleanspark, 227 million. We'll see what they report tomorrow. CORZ at 258 now. Hive is at 106 million. Hut 8, 90 million. That's because they did a reverse split when they merged. And then you got IREN with 186 million. So they're not that bad. Marathon has almost 300 million there as well. Riot has, I believe, 303 million. So you got quite a few companies that are even higher than IREN there. And TeraWolf is at 331 million as well on the shares outstanding. We'll see what the numbers actually come in once they report Q2 results. But I'm guessing they're going to be pretty close to that, maybe a little bit higher on some of these guys. But I wouldn't expect much. Maybe from TeraWolf, because TeraWolf did dilute quite a bit to pay off the debt that they had. So we might see a pretty sizable jump here in TeraWolf maybe. Okay. All right, back here. Let's see. On their website, Riot said they want to remove Fannie from the board. Do they have better candidates to nominate? No. I mean, Fannie is a fantastic board member there, I think. I know that they want to remove one of the other co-founders of the company. I can't remember his name right now. Somebody else. And then the third spot was somebody else. So I'm surprised they would want to remove Fannie from there. But I think because Fannie's such a bull on miners and all that stuff, maybe that's the reason why. And also she's really good at mergers and acquisitions. And maybe she can help fight them off as well. That's why they want her off. Then I don't know. We'll have to wait until October, unfortunately, to find out what happens there. If I had 5,000 to invest between Riot or BitDeer, which one will you pick? Thanks. I would probably go with Riot right now, because the only reason I would go with Riot is that they have really good growth this year, whereas BitDeer has more growth happening next year and into 2026. BitDeer has a lot of good things going for them. They have the ASICs that they're producing and manufacturing themselves, so they'll get really good pricing on those. The huge expansion plans going forward as well, like I said, but it's not until 2025, 2026. That's why I would probably go with Riot right now, if Riot can fix their uptime, or improve their uptime, I guess you could say. Let's see, Cleanspark is getting really attractive. Yeah, I mean, they're way down from where they were. Cleanspark's at, what, $11 right now? It's half from the peak where they were at $24. Just what that was back in March. So we're going back roughly, what is that, 4 months, 4 or 5 months back? Yeah, at that price, they're pretty attractive. Let's see. What don't you like about Cleanspark? I thought they mine Bitcoin cheaper than all the other miners. No, they're not the cheapest. They're one of the most efficient, and their track record has been really good as far as reaching their targets. Yes, they're off by about a month and maybe a month and a half or something like that. But overall, their historical numbers have been really good here. They operate really great each month. They do the right things. They sold Bitcoin in the right times. They hodled in the right times. So there's just a lot of good things that they are doing there, at least in my opinion. But what don't you like about Cleanspark? So what don't I like about Cleanspark? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think what I don't like about Cleanspark. I don't think there is. I mean, there were things that would kind of bug me in the beginning with Cleanspark. They had a commercial that was out on CNBC. That was, I'm like, that's really not needed. But, the biggest thing you can do to get investors is provide great numbers, improve your hash rate, grow. That'll do it by itself. Why spend the money on a commercial? There was no need for it. But that's about it. I wasn't too happy with the timing of them selling shares, right? Matt and Zach, I think, got like $7 to $9 million for selling the shares, and right after that, they came out with an ATM for $850 million. I don't think the timing was that great on it. So that's basically about it. Little nitpicking things here and there. Are you more bullish on Bitfarms versus IREN if you had to pick one? No, I guess you could say. I'm kind of equally now. I was more bullish on Bitfarms, but with IREN coming back down as much as they have here recently, on the pricing side of things, IREN is at, where are they at? 676 right now. I mean, they are way down from where they were just basically a month ago. They were at 1575 here, and they have come way, way, way down. Yes, they got a little bit overextended here, maybe a little bit, so we need a healthy pullback. But right now, with them being at 676 and Bitfarms being at $1.89, I still think that like Bitfarms has a chance to get to like $15 to $20, maybe even higher than that this cycle. IREN, I was looking at $80. So based on that, I'm thinking that they are pretty both equally undervalued right now compared to where they probably will be in the next 12 to 18 months on that one. Okay. Do you think Cleanspark will mine over 500 Bitcoin this month? Oh, I don't know. Not unless they install a bunch of hash rate. Let's take a look at Cleanspark here really quick. What do they mine here the last couple of months? So if we go back here, I mean, well, they were at 484. So if they install more hash rate and the network hash rate doesn't grow that much, then yes, they might be able to get get around to 500, right? If they install a couple exahash, 1, 2 exahash or something like that, probably 2 exahash would need, and the network hash rate doesn't go up too much, then yes, they possibly might be able to. All right, what else we got here? How low do you think IREN can go? Oh, well, all right, let's go back to the chart here again. Let's see here. Where is it at? Screen. Okay, so I think it came pretty low here. I mean, we're as low as $4 back in May, right? Then they came out with a news saying that they're going to get to 20 exahash by the end of Q3, 30 exahash by the end of Q4. And then we had the short report come out on them here as well. I mean, they timed it perfectly there. I think that didn't help. We also have a possibility, it was a lawsuit against them. That's going to be a, not just a regular lawsuit, but like a class action lawsuit against them because of the short report. That didn't help things either. So I think they're pretty close to bottoming out here on maybe Monday. If that wasn't the end of it, I mean, we're bouncing off of the 200-day moving average here. We kind of came down to that and stopped there. I would expect this to possibly hold here, and eventually we'll start going back up. But if we don't hold here, I'm guessing maybe somewhere around the $5.60 range or $5.50, $5.60 range. That would be probably the lowest I would possibly go on that one, possibly. But I think we might be close because you can see here the 200 moving average is right there. They bounced off of that today. If you can see that right there. So that's kind of what I would think on IREN at least. Now, what else we got here? Yeah, if IREN falls below $5, that's a strong buy. My averages on them is like almost $7 something. So I would like to be buying right now if I had the cash. Have you heard anything about the investigation regarding Wolf? Your thoughts? No, I have not. No, wait a minute. I did hear something on Spaces, on X Spaces. I don't know exactly. I think I came in the middle of the conversation. I didn't really get into it. So I heard something about it, but I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. What else we got here? Ethereum ETF looking cheap. Yeah, if you want to get into that, then this would be a good time to possibly get into it. How is IREN going to get to 20 exahash by September? I hope they reach their target and keep the electricity costs low. They're bulling out and at Childress right now. So they have everything in place that they need to get there. They just need to continue to build out, and they have miners scheduled for delivery to get to that as well. Question is, IREN a better buy than Cleanspark or Bitfarms right now? Cleanspark is down from where it's at. So if you're looking at possible X multiples, I think you would have, at that point, Bitfarms and IREN being kind of tied right now in that department. I think Cleanspark can get to like $70, maybe even higher than that, depending where Bitcoin goes. If we get, like huge FOMO and everything else in the market, I think at that point they might do pretty well also. But just by my own price targets on them, I think Bitfarms and IREN might be a better get. But if you can get a Cleanspark as well, because you just never know. Cleanspark could come out to say that they're getting to 75 exahash next year, and the stock's going to, go crazy. So it's always based on news events and what are they doing, what are the growth projections going forward. That always plays a big role into it. So that's why I own all three of them. I own Cleanspark, IREN, and Bitfarms, and I've been buying into IREN and Bitfarms here recently because I think they were just more undervalued than Cleanspark was. Okay, what do you think of the news that Harris may be holding a Harris for Crypto Town Hall next week? I think that'd be great. If both parties were to be more pro crypto, I think that'd be great for all of us. So that would be great. Okay. Do you see any? Okay, we talked about that. I think. Do you see any issues with IREN reaching their exahash goal? They are still at 10 exahash, and their goal is 20 exahash by the end of September. They're actually at where were they at? They increased a little bit here at 10.5 exahash. So they increased a little bit here, about 500 petahash in July. So yeah, they need to improve that more. So well, we got basically in August we need a nice improvement there. We need basically 5 exahash, and in September as well, around 5 exahash. So they got to step it up here a little bit here. But they did get to their target of 10 exahash much faster than they were anticipating as well. If we look at the chart here, they were anticipating to get to 10 exahash by the end of June. They got there by the end of May, actually. So we might get surprised there. We'll see. But yeah, I don't think there's any issues with them trying to get to it. I think it's just a matter of them building it out and installing the machines at that point. Let's see. Hut CFO is departing, personal reasons. Do you find this concerning? I don't own Hut, so I don't find this concerning. And people have personal reasons. There's, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong there. Maybe time will tell, but I don't think so. What is your top miner pick? I don't have a top miner pick. I think I would go with Mara, Riot, Cleanspark, IREN, Bitfarms, CORZ. In no particular order in that point. I think those are like the top 5-6 miners there in the field. CORZ might have an edge on these guys here going forward in 2025 with the huge HPCI contract there. But they also need to build out and grow their own hash rate as well for Bitcoin mining. Thought the Bitfarms was supposed to get 24 million tax credit. If that's true, then that should help with the earnings. Yeah, they did. Thank you for reminding me that. Is it going to be for this quarter? I think that is going to be for this quarter, not last quarter. I forgot about that, the 24 million tax credit. Yeah, so that should help as well. So that might mean that they might be EPS positive. Yeah, thank you. Do you think IREN will post positive earnings? How will the market react? I'm mostly worried this quarter after July production, but hoping they will have positive news regarding build out. Well, IREN, let's go back to my sheet here for IREN really quick. They mined in Q1, where they came in at March at 54.3 million. They came in at 53.9. So they're off by like, what, 400 some thousand based on my numbers here at least on it. So they're pretty close from where they were. And that's mainly because they had a huge increase in the hash rate in that quarter here. So in Q1, they came in at, what did they come in at EPS wise? They had 8 cents positive. So if they keep the costs low on overhead and everything else, they might be able to squeak out a positive EPS as well, because they don't hold anything, so that doesn't affect them on the FASB rules as well. Okay. All right. Back to the questions. Do you think we see Mara at 10 to 12? Oh, gosh. Let me see. Mara. Let's see. Mara's at 15 right now. I think it's also kind of bottomed out here as well on Monday. It was at 1366, and that is way below its 200-day moving average, 100-day moving average, 50-day moving average. It's way below from where it really should be. It got hammered. It got hammered pretty hard too, going down into it. So no, I think that's probably the bottom there in it. Unless Bitcoin goes down to like 40,000 or something like that, then at that point that would be the case. But I don't see that happening possibly. I have pretty high conviction in that Bitcoin will not go down 40,000, but I could be wrong on it. So the only way it would go down more was if Bitcoin goes down like 40,000. All right, let's see. When is IREN's earnings? IREN's earning, I don't have the number in front of me or the date, but it is coming up. I think they're not reporting until like September. Is it September, I think? Sometime in September, I believe. Andrea says, Morgan Stanley sales reps will soon start selling ETFs, and they have lots of reps. Yeah, I think they were supposed to start selling today, actually. But yeah, they have what, like 12,000 reps or something like that? We're going off memory here, so my memory could be off. What else we got here? Some sold off my BTC ETF for more IREN at 680. Very nice. I think that will do better going forward. Better multiple at least. Let's see. If you had 1,000 invest right now and only one miner, which one would you choose? One miner. Oh gosh, that's a tough one. If I had 1,000 and only, Man, right now, it would be a toss-up between Bitfarms and IREN right now, actually. Yeah, gosh. But yeah, it would be somewhere between those two. I don't know exactly which one. I think they're both way undervalued from where they really should be right now. So it's a toss-up between those. Maybe IREN, because IREN doesn't have the overhead with Riot hanging on their shoulders trying to buy them out. That's kind of the way I would kind of maybe look at that. Look at the pluses and the minuses. IREN also had a bad month in July. So yeah, that's a hard one. See, Eddie says, I sold on my IREN at 1205 and bought back at 1092. I feel like an idiot for not just waiting so I can buy at 650. I never thought it would go this low based on how well they were doing. Yeah, I mean, that's hard to time it. That's why I've always been a strong proponent of dollar cost averaging, because you just don't know where things are going to go. If you believe in the longer time frame, right? If you're trying to trade in the shorter time frame, like the daily or hourly even charts, then yeah, I mean, go ahead and try and get in and out as fast as you can. Make that 20%, 10%, whatever it might be. Back out, wait for it to dip again, do that. But it's tough. It's really tough. I think like 90% of people that day trade in the long run end up losing money. The best strategy is to not time the market, but time in the market, typically. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. Yeah, Christian says, pretty sure if you believe Bitcoin, the best thing to do is buy Bitcoin. Miners are a timing game. Yeah, they're in a sense a timing game, but so is Bitcoin in a sense, because if we have continued cycles like we had in the past, you probably want to sell at the top, buy at the bottom, but it's hard to figure out where those are sometimes, or most of the times. Let's see. What miner stock will rip more under a very big Bitcoin price increase? Oh gosh. I think that depends on where the network hash rate is at, where their own individual hash rate is at also, and how much have they grown, or how much are they growing into that rip in Bitcoin. So I think that all plays into it. I would say like the top 6, I think those guys will do really well. So even maybe some of the smaller miners. So the top 6, like I said before, Mara, IREN, Cleanspark, Bitfarms, IREN, Riot in their core as well. And then you got some of the smaller ones like Cypher, Wolf. I think they all will do very well. It's just a matter of based on growth and when that growth is going to happen. Not an easy thing to really figure out. Let's see. Any shares owned and bought of Bitfarms after August 6th give shareholders one right to buy at a discounted price. All rights are terminated on October meeting if shareholders' rights plan is voted off. Yeah, so we got that happening for us in October. Let's see. Rotation to Cleanspark and Bitfarms tomorrow. Next leg up will be led by top dogs. That's kind of what I'm thinking also. Let's see. What else we got? I'm trying to catch up with all you guys' questions here really quick. Forgive me while there's some dead space while I'm trying to read some of the questions. Let's see. Why there are only insider ownership in CORZ and Wolf, and all other insiders in other companies don't hold even 1%. I don't know. I haven't really looked into that, but it's a good question. Just turned in. What's your take on Core after earnings? I think they were actually really good. Yes, we had a negative EPS because of all the warrants and the way that they have to be accounted for. But other than that, things are looking pretty good there for them. Let's see. Hey Seb, after asking you thousands of questions these past days, I finally pulled the trigger on Mara today. Wow, nicely done. Yeah, I think Mara is going to do very well going forward. They've improved their operations, and they're doing that going forward as well. They also, like I've said before, they have the name recognition, so I think they will do very well. Question, hello Seb. In these last couple of months, has Riot improved their operations? They have improved a little bit here in Rockdale and at Corsicana. Riot came in for July at 65% utilization, so that was an improvement there. Corsicana was at 75%, which was also an improvement from June numbers. I would like to still see Corsicana be much higher, closer to around 90%, 95% if possible. At 75%, that's no bueno for me. I don't like that, so I need to see that much higher. Not that much higher, just about 15 to 20% much higher. Seb, do you still like IREN even with the poor performance this month? I have seen more confidence. I have seen more confidence in Bitfarms Cypher. Yeah, I still am pretty. My outlook for IREN is still really good. I don't see just having one bad month. It could happen to any of these miners, any miner that's hedging on electricity or anything like that. It could happen to any of them. They got their butts spanked a little bit here. I think they're going to learn from it. If they don't learn from it, then I would be a little bit more concerned going forward. So we'll see what August numbers look like. I'm expecting them to be better unless they did something where they were in it for like a couple of months. And at that point, it would not be good. So we would need a really good explanation of what the heck happened then. The question: if you had to go in on one miner, only miner, which one will you choose? Thanks. So, like I said, it'd be between Bitfarms and IREN. I think IREN might be the safer bet because IREN does not have Riot on their shoulder trying to buy them out. Para says Cleanspark is the only right answer. To be honest, Cleanspark is, I think, one of the best ones, if not the best one right now. But when we're looking at possible gains, and that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out here, as far as what X multiple I could get from these guys. I think that IREN and Bitfarms are a little bit more undervalued based on that. And I think there may be some more X multiples on those guys more so on CleanSpark. Question: what is the number one mid-cap miner? Well, mid-cap miners, if we look at that, I mean, you're looking at, let's go back over here to market cap. So mid-cap, what are you looking at mid-cap here? Are you looking at 1 billion and below that roughly? Because I mean, right now, we got 4 miners that are above 2 billion and everybody else is below that. So mid cap, let's just say it's somewhere between 2 and 1 billion at that point. I mean, right now it'd be probably IREN on that one because it's at 1.2 billion. If you look at some of the smaller market cap ones, I would say that would be Bitfarms on that one. But Bitfarms was above 1 billion here recently, except for the recent pullback that we've seen since Monday here. All right, let's go back here. Hi, so what time is Cleanspark's earnings? Thinking of buying more, but unsure if it's better to wait for ER before. Thanks. Yeah, I don't know what time the earnings are going to be reported, whether it's in the morning or after the close. I'm not sure on that. You can maybe split it a little bit, buy a little bit beforehand and buy afterwards. I'm not sure. Don't put everything in at once. Dollar cost average in. Maybe if it does dip, you have some powder at that point to pull some more shares in. Let's see. Do you think IREN crosses $50 if BTC touches 150,000? That's basically a 2x, or no, it'd be more like a 3x from where we are right now on Bitcoin. So that'd be 3x. At that point, I would see them getting 3x. So we're looking at maybe 3x. So that would be possibly like a 6 to 8x from where we are right now. So they're at $7 roughly. A 6x to 7x would be close to $50 possibly. Yeah, so it could be close at that point. Let's see. Hi, question. Do you remember experiencing dip in miners during the last Bitcoin halving? Were you scared and did you buy the dip? Thank you. Yeah, continued to buy the dip on Hive in it when it was coming down. So yeah, I've been through this before. I learned my lesson. I basically rolled it all the way up and ran it all the way down as well. That was a lesson learned. I will be taking profits this time around. So yes, I've been through this before. And the only thing that saved me at that point was buying more when the dips happen. That had a huge improvement on what my X multiple was, and the number of shares that I had and what that actually meant when things were really good at the peak of 2021. It was a lot more cash. If I didn't do that, if I just bought in at once and didn't buy more, it would have been, a very, very small improvement in possibly the gains that I could have had. Himanshi, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Or the super sticker. Let's see here. Cleanspark seems to be the only miner without serious issues, giving investors pause right now. Every time I try to pull the trigger on other miners, I talk myself out of it, only for one reason or another. Yeah, I mean, they've been pretty even keel here recently, which is nice. let's see. In the next 12 months, my bet is that people will be crying over the fact that they missed the chance to get Cleanspark under $10, Bitfarms under 2. Yeah, I agree there. You have to have a little bit more longer viewpoint on these guys here. Not so short-sighted on them, I think. It is painful, but I mean, the trader's going to trade, right? If you're a longer term, and when I see longer term, like if you were buying at the bottoms in 2022, and now you're looking at, what are we now in at? You got 2022, 23, so we're at 2.5 years in. I would say that's a longer term trader. But yes. Let's see. Do you know what percentage of Cleanspark is retail owned? Cleanspark, based on the numbers we have for them, let's see here, Cleanspark, let me pull that up. If we look at the numbers that I have for them, institutions own 48%. So I'm guessing retail owns about 51 something, 52% based on this number over here, as of just this week. So that's kind of where I'm looking at it that way. All right, let's go back here. Let's see here. Bull Trader, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for all your comments. Reference Cleanspark. Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for the super chat. And okay, excluding Bitfarms and IREN, which miner has the most upside? Okay, so if we take out those two, I think at that point you're looking at possibly Riot, Riot, and maybe even CORZ still. After that, I would possibly look into like Cleanspark, and after that, we would probably look at like Marathon, and that's that scale more or less. See, yeah, I talked about that one there. That explains the dips. Everyone is out of cash. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I'm trying to scrounge up as much as I can here. Hi, Seb. How many outstanding shares does IREN actually have? I got 3 different numbers from 3 sources. IREN, so the numbers that I have for them are based on, let me take a look at it. It should be based on Q1 results for them, which they reported. And IREN at that point had, let me see here. Am I adding anything here? I'm not adding anything in here. So it's 186 million. And that's going back down to, let's take a look at the numbers here. 186 was reported from them when they reported on their ATM. So that's where I got that from, because 140 million was from their Q1. So I did add the numbers into it here from that report. And I probably should have put a link in here, but that's what I have right now. 186 million, that's what I'm going by, until I get another update from them on the ATM or through the Q2 results for them. Let me know if that's close to what you're seeing also. But that's kind of what I have them at. All right. Let's see. How do you think Cleanspark's earnings will be tomorrow? I think they will be down, mainly because of the Bitcoin holiday they have and the FSB rules. They're going to have to write that down. So that's going to take a jab at them. So I think the numbers will be down. Thanks for the stream, Seb. You're very welcome. Much appreciated. I appreciate you guys coming in here. Let's see how many miners react tomorrow. BTC grinding up slowly right now. Let's see. Yeah. Day by day, look out in the longer time frame. Short time frame, if, like I keep saying, if you see a dip, buy the dip if you can. Let's see. Hey, Sebastian, I'm glad that I took some profits when I saw the CME gap a couple of weeks back. Have you seen the new CME gap in the charts? I bought 3K more shares in Bitfarms and will DCA going forward. On the CME gap here, let's take a look at that one. Yeah, I mean, there's a gap here between 62,000 and 59,000. We did fill this gap down here that we had. This was between 58,000 and 60, and we filled that, and we went way down more than that. The gaps historically typically do get filled. They don't always get filled, but historically they do get filled. A large portion of them do. So that did happen. So that was a good call on your end if you saw that it might go down, and it did go down. But where's the other gap? I think this is the only gap that I see here. Recently, we filled this gap back here. This was back in 2023. All our gaps have been filled as well. I don't see anything else here other than that one. That one got kind of, I mean, it didn't really get filled because we have a gap here as well. So I'm guessing we'll go up to that and fill these gaps here. When will that happen? I'm not sure exactly. Probably the next couple of weeks. That's what I would expect at least. Let's see what else. Belichu says, Seb genuinely asking, I'm a bullish holder of Bitfarms, but worried what's going on with the outstanding shares. It's getting out of control. 450 million does hurt us shareholders for pump with that float. They're the highest of the miners here as far as shares are outstanding, but they've also been around longer than the majority of these guys here, except for I think Hive, which went public in 2017. I think Bitfarms went public in 2018. And they have now done a reverse split. Hive has done a reverse split. Hive 8 has done a reverse split. CORZ has done a reverse split. But a lot of these guys are catching up to them. You got some miners that are up to already 300 some odd million in shares. So they're catching up to them. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. I don't think that's a big issue there. The big thing is you want to see is growth, because all of these guys are growing, and you got Marathon, Riot, Cleanspark, all hodling right now. So they're using their cash or the ATMs that they had before. They're diluting as well to do that. So they are catching up. Bitfarms, on the other hand, is selling a portion of their Bitcoin hodl to fund operations and growth as well. So you have a little bit less dilution happening there. But they're still using a little bit of the ATM, but it's not going to be as bad, I think. Well, the difference also is that the stock price of Bitfarms is much lower, so you have more dilution on a per dollar basis than you would if your stock was like $10, $15, where some of the other guys are at. Let's see, I was 100% in IREN weeks ago, and now 22%. Where is the bottom? I think the bottom was reached possibly on Friday, but we'll see. Now let's see. Question: do you believe Fred Thiel being the CEO and chairman of the company is a red flag? He received 36.12 million compensation this year. Yeah, it's stock-based and things like that. Yeah, I mean, he's not the only one. We got Riot with a lot of compensation as well. Other companies in there. Cleanspark actually was pretty low on their compensation for Q1. Their Q2, our Q1. Other miners also are usually a little bit better at that. But with them being so big, I'm not a big fan of that. But I don't think that's a red flag. It's definitely frustrating, and I would just say it's frustrating that they're getting that much. Let's see. Cypher was up 8% most of the day today and sold off towards the end when BTC dipped. Any news on Cypher? No, all the miners dipped towards the end of the day. The only news that we know right now is that there's rumors of a possible takeover or buyout by somebody. We just don't know who. Let's see. Bull Trader says, just saying Sebastian's working hard tonight. Let's help him with some super chats. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm trying to catch up with all you guys' questions here. I try to do that every night here. So if you had to buy one miner right now, which would it be? IREN and Bitfarms. Still, IREN been getting so hard recently. Why? Been getting so hit hard, I guess. Yeah, it still would be IREN and Bitfarms. IREN is getting hit hard because of their operational update for July, which came out yesterday. Their cost for electricity was higher than their revenue from Bitcoin itself per Bitcoin, if you look at it that way. So that's the reason why they're getting smacked right now. And that was based on their hedging strategy, which didn't work out for July. I'm hoping it doesn't go into August as well. And at that point, they should do much better. Okay, Connie says, Cleanspark conference call tomorrow is at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you for that. I'll definitely be listening on that. What else here? Do you think it's still reasonable IREN at 35? Oh, yeah. I think that would be like the bear case scenario for Bitcoin going up to maybe like 100,000, 120-some thousand or something like that for them. Let's see. IREN to 24 by the end of the year, called it. If they get to 30 exahash and Bitcoin, yeah, might be possible. Until Prophecy says, I need 35. Oh, well, let's see. Let's see. Scott says, Bitcoin up, Cleanspark down, down, down. I wish I was up for a day just for a change. F, buying Cleanspark is catching a falling knife. Just have S call on the chart, down 45% since July 15th. Yeah. It's not fun. I mean, my overall portfolio, the value of it on paper at least, is down like 300 somehow thousand. So that definitely hurts. But I'm trying to remain patient and calm and reserved on this. I've been through this before. I know what happens. The market tries to shake you out of it, and it's doing a pretty good job because based on the sentiment that's out there, just on Twitter and other places like that, everybody is just so bearish on everything. People are selling which is unfortunate, but I can understand it that it's painful. And this is the times where I'm starting to like it. When Bitcoin is going down, miners are going down, I can buy more. Because like I said before, I keep looking into the next 12 to 18 months where I think things are going to be much better. Right now there's pain, yes, but during this pain, you should be buying, I think. Question, is it possible that core will outperform all miners this cycle? It has already outperformed probably all the miners. If you look at it from where it bottomed out at like, what, 4 cents and to where it's at right now, it has outperformed all the miners already. Big thing for them is their HPC business is not going to really take off until sometime in 2025, possibly at the end of Q1 or sometime in Q2. We don't know exactly when. And they're just going to continue increasing on top of that as time goes on with CoreWeave. So that's happening later on next year. And they also need to grow their hash rate also. But yeah, I think they've already outperformed everybody. It's tough to do that because they did a reverse split on it to get the stock up to a certain point. After the emerging out of bankruptcy. But if you look at just the numbers where it was a while back to where it is now, it has outperformed everybody. Can we see a all-in cost to mine for miners, for all the miners? Yes. Once they all report their numbers, I will run some numbers on it that are going to be estimates. It's not going to be exact, but it's going to be estimates on it. We will look at that. Let's see. What else do I have here? Do you see CORZ forming a head and shoulders pattern on the daily or weekly? I'm not a chartist, not a TA guy, so I haven't really seen that. Or I haven't really taken much thought into it, but let's take a look at it here really quick. On CORZ head and shoulders on the weekly, or let's see, what was the question there? Let me see here. Pattern on the daily and the weekly time frames. So here's CORZ. This is the daily head and shoulders. So this would be the shoulder, head, shoulder here. Maybe I'm not, like I said, I'm not a TA guy. On the weekly, that's going to be even. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Does that look like a head and shoulders to you guys? Would this be, maybe this would be the shoulder, this would be the head. So you'd come down back down here, and then I don't know. I'm not a TA guy. Wish I could help you there, but that's not my forte. Do you believe miners, Cleanspark, IREN, Bitfarms, Riot, Mora can surpass MicroStrategy in bull run? Surpass MicroStrategy in market cap, in percent increase? If you're talking about percentage increase, then yes, I do think so. Do you have a chart that shows exahash versus market cap for all miners? Bitfarms at 10 and sub 1 billion is crazy, it seems. Yeah, I do have it. Let me pull it up here. It's actually enterprise value to exahash. Well, let me see if I can find that. Where is it at? Enterprise. Where's enterprise? There it is. So this is based on today's numbers. I haven't done anything else to it. So the charts are kind of all over the place here. But you can see here that Bitfarms right now is valued at 69 million per exahash. Riot's at 15 million per exahash. And then you got Hive at 30 million. We know why Hive. Cleanspark is at 86 million. So those are like three of the most undervalued here right now. If you look at future hash rate, Riot comes in at number 2 spot. We're at 29 million. Bitfarms 37 million. Iris 35 million. Cleanspark at 36 million. These guys are undervalued quite tremendously compared to where like Marathon is right now. Even Core is being valued a heck of a lot more right now on it. So that's why I keep saying Bitfarms, IREN, and even Riot are like way undervalued from where they really should be, especially when you look at their future hash rate growth on things. What else we got? What are the best lowest cost Bitcoin mined miners? IREN must definitely be out of that top 5. Yeah, they are out of it. We will know more about them once they all report. Then I can actually look at them all and then see which ones are like the best. I think CORZ was like one of the best ones in Q1, followed by, I think TeraWolf was in there, Cypher, Cleanspark. Who else was in there? Bitfarms, I'm thinking, possibly. So, Bitfarms earnings tomorrow. Any idea if good or bad? Did they have issues? They didn't really have issues. They had issues with getting to 12 exahash by the end of June. All right, they're a little bit behind that. They're going to be about 2 months behind that. They should get to 2 exahash this month here. They had some issues with the miners also. The issue with the CEO leaving there, then suing them. That's an issue there. Them taking forever to get a new CEO, which they got finally Ben, which I was a strong proponent of that. That was great to see there. They had Riot trying to buy them out. So yeah, there's issues there with Bitfarms. But as far as revenues are concerned, we talked about that earlier in the video. I think they might be able to squeak out a positive EPS if they get the tax credits of $24 million from the Canadian Tax Authority, and if you don't include like non-cash based costs. Okay, Scott, thank you so much for the super chat. Chart Cleanspark down 45 in 3 weeks. Hate the stock. Love the show. Thank you. Let's see. Scott says I'm down 270,000 in 3 weeks. It's horrible, but Sebastian keeps us going. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm on paper I'm down like 300 some thousand. It's tough. Bull Trader says I'm sorry, never give up. Yeah, we all keep saying that Bitcoin's going to go up much higher from where it is right now. We're all believing in that. The only thing that would really be bad, and I don't want to say the word, I'll say it, what's really suck is if we had 73,000 as the top of the cycle, which I don't see that happening or being the case, but that would be a bummer. That would be a major bummer at that point. So I'm trying to be positive about it. Scott says, for sure Bitcoin will go to 100,000 before I die. And I'm an old man. I'm an old guy. You got plenty of years left on you. Say, Bull Trader, me too. Bitcoin is the best story out there, and I ain't going to miss the train on this one. Yeah, it's kind of my feeling on it as well. Would you buy IREN at these levels? I would, but be prepared for maybe a little bit more of a pullback on it. So be ready to dollar cost average in if you can. Scott, have a good show. Steph, have a great night. Yeah, I'm caught up with all you guys' questions here, so I'm going to call it a night as well. Appreciate you guys all coming in here. Bitcoin right now is still going up a little bit here. It's at 3.94% up on the new day, so that's a good sign there. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Like you guys said, we have Cleanspark and Bitfarms, I believe, reporting tomorrow as well. So we'll get into that numbers tomorrow, and then we'll get into other things as well on it. But that's it. So again, thank you so much for coming in. I greatly appreciate you guys. Appreciate all the questions. You guys make me think. I love that. And tomorrow's Thursday, so we're getting closer to the end of the week as well. All right, have a great night, everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow.